Hey guys, what's going on? This is Off Mario X, and today I'm gonna do something a little more different. I think I'm gonna do a different kind of video that doesn't really do any sort of focus for any showcases or anything. Just feel like bouncing things off my chest, maybe a few announcements and all that, but it's not normally something I do. First off, the whole news about the Mario Kart Wii forums having been infected. Yeah, I kind of found that out firsthand yesterday, October 11th, which is a Tuesday of 2016. I was waiting for the site to hopefully be up soon, but apparently I got my wish, but not in the way I expected it. Instead, wormware pops up as soon as I reload the page, meaning that someone else could probably bought it. And you know what that means. From what I've seen on the page, there's a lot of cracked software links, illegal torrents, and other illegal files that may lead to viruses and malware and other malicious data possibly infecting your computer. I actually told the people at the Hackpack Discord group about it. News quickly came around the Mario Kart Wii community, at least a lot of the modding side. And it's rather telling that we might not be able to get it for this year, or until the admins are able to, well, invest some sort of interest in it again. I'm not sure if this is entirely by accident, like forgetting it, but it could also be that they lost interest in the sites entirely in favor of newer forums. But I really hope it does get fixed soon, because there have been quite a few textures that I've wanted to record as of late, and due to recent issues with my computer, like my hard drive crashing and all of that, it's been really difficult. So I had to rely more upon, well, waiting to get a new drive issued. It came in quite in time, although the website was down during September. And stayed down for about a month. Which is actually unfortunate, since I've been a user at that forums for about 8 years, but I haven't been a regular on it. In fact, a lot of the time I usually didn't spend too much time on it. Well, when I found Mario Kart Wii, the hacking community, it wasn't really as much kindled as it was back in 2008. For me, at least. But there's plenty of people who have certainly found much more of a community from it. And I've spent less time with Mario Kart Wii during that time. Like, up until 2016, where I invested so much more of my time to this game with the mods. It just feels like a complete transformation from when I started back in 2010 with the whole modding stuff, where I was really awful. And the only tools we really worked with were Paint and SES modifier, and to an extent, earlier versions of KMP modifier. It was actually pretty good for what it can do, like adding cannons, but it didn't really serve much else of a purpose back then. Not like it sort of does now, although it is incredibly glitchy. And nowadays we can just use Weem's SES tools, Brawl Box, and sort of C tools, but we could definitely use tools like 3ds Max or SketchUp, provided you have free copies or all that, or any of that. Of course, 3ds Max being the better choice. Not the easier choice, but the better choice for making tracks look good. Anyways, I was actually thinking about starting up a Q&A page on my website. I might actually link to it in my newer videos if I feel like pushing them out. Since it's always fun to get to answer some questions people have had. Although some questions may be a little too personal to some, including myself. But I suppose even something like politics or religion would be fine for me to answer to. Just not my sex life, okay? Not like anyone here cares. And speaking of news, I think I've seen the dumbest thing for this year, at least in terms of movies. As if the latest Ghostbusters release wasn't bad enough. I'll give you a hint on what it is. It has something to do with emojis. Sony decides to make, or something like that, related to an entire movie about emojis, and it sounds basically like a copy and paste of Wreck-It Ralph with an original name like Textopolis. And I thought everyone else was having a hard time just having all these 3D remakes of older cartoon shows like the Smurfs and Alvin and the Chipmunks, and even Inspector Gadget, but really? How the hell do you make a movie on emojis? Seriously? What the hell? I'm at a loss for words. You have to be extremely creative or really hyped up on drugs just to think of such a scenario. I mean, there is absolutely no hero-villain dichotomy even remotely expressed in these emojis. Unless you're, like, creating some sort of fan fiction with them, which, why bother? I really can't wait for that movie to bomb. It's gonna be hilarious. And a lot of the negative reception, I can only imagine. I have a feeling that the target audience for this film that Sony decided to go and make were for the millennials. Millennials like us, who spend a lot of our time texting anyways. Although, to be honest, I don't really text that much. Especially since, where I currently live, I barely have reception. But still, It just baffles my mind on how you can create an entire movie around emojis. I have an idea for what we can make an entire movie on. Toilet paper and paper towels. Oh, and another thing, tissue paper. At least with Sausage Party, it's still pretty creative and pretty hilarious. Some people may not like it, but it seems to be a rather harmless film for a restricted animated film. With a lot of innuendos, of course. And of course, as of late, the US presidential debate is basically watered down to attack each other's character as much as possible. At least on both sides, but when is it not in the US debate? But it's not like I would know too much. I am Canadian after all. And we have like multiple parties. Like Liberal, Conservative, NDP, Green Party, etc. Oh shit! Sorry. Oh! But I do have some good news. My local town is actually going to be opening up a Tim Hortons in a few months, and it's going to be pretty cool. Especially since I no longer have to wait to go to a city like Calgary or Edmonton just to get some Tim Hortons. Which means I could get my pretzel bagels or my tea biscuits. I miss the ham and cheese tea biscuits though. But the tea biscuits, even the cookies, breakfast sandwiches, maybe even frozen lemonades, all that will now be available within walking distance. Well, if I want to run the risk of encountering perhaps some wild animals that might think of me as a meal. But at 6'2", I don't think that's going to be an issue. Especially since I can drive the Skidoo. And it's fun. And on top of that, it's also not too far from where I work. So more walking distance. Of course, it's near the gas station that just opened up about a year ago or so. Which is not too far from the highway. Given that our highway is only like one lane for each side. Not like where you have multiple lanes on a highway normally. But that's to be expected from a very rural part of the country where there's barely 100,000 people. But at least I'm happy that I'm going to be able to eat all the luxurious food from Tim Hortons. Of course, any Canadians knowing about it, or even some Americans, it would be great for you to speak up in the comments section. And I think the last bit of news that I might want to do is even more personal. I'm actually going to be... well, two things actually. Canada's Worst Driver comes out on the 24th of this month. Season 12. It's going to be pretty interesting since it is one of my favorite reality TV shows, if not my favorite, since it just mixes in education with entertainment. Of course, it being on Discovery Channel, and it's on at 8 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is pretty much my time zone. And the last bit of news is that I'll probably be in Calgary for about a few days next month. Of course, for my dad's medical, since he's a pilot and all. And he needs to be checked up, of course. The last thing you would want is your pilot to suddenly have cardiac arrest. That'd be bad. Or any sort of ailment. But that also means that it gives me more of an opportunity to stock up on some new games, some tech, and some other things like that, which I've been saving quite a lot of money for as of late. So this is going to be something that I'm really stoked for. I've actually made a list of what I want to get, which I'll be paying for with my own money. Including a new external hard drive, which I've used up about 75% of the space on one that I've had for about 5-6 years, much of which is either backups or recordings from all the years. But anyways, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video. And I'll see you guys next time.